Welcome back to the Model Frontier, everybody. Today we start Pack 6 of Agora Models Build the RMS Titanic. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you don't miss a second of any of my great content. We did quite a bit all over the ship last issue. On the officers' quarters and the gymnasium section, we put on window frames. We attached the funnels permanently. We put some lighting in. On the forward section of the ship, we actually completed a quarter of the hull. We added an anchor. We combined the well deck and the forecastle with a bulkhead and we got all that done. So we've done a lot. It's the last thing we did, though, that's where we're going to begin here, and that was we started work on our engine room. That's our focus for this video, is we're going to be focusing more on the engine room. And we got a lot to do, but we're not going all over the place. We're just going into one section of the ship this time. This is going to be a little different of a video because I don't really do any modifications on this. Some people will debate the coloring of the engines, but I personally think they look great. I think they're fine as they are. So this is going to be a case of if you feel like you want to make the engines a different color, then that's up to you. Again, best part about doing models is it's your model, so you got to do whatever makes you happy. However, there's a couple of things we got to do before we get into that. The first thing is we got our third free gift for this build. You remember we got the poster plate and the screwdriver set before. Well, let's take a look at our third free gift. So before we start our build, let's take a look first at our new prize, our new free gift, which is, of course, the pocket watch. I know a lot of us been waiting to get our hands on this, so let's take a look. So we take it out of its nice packaging, and of course you got the chain, so it can be worn. It's a functional watch. If we take the watch out, so on the front side, it's just your simple watch. It says Titanic on it. Nothing extra fancy or, earth-shattering there. On the back, you've got just a very nice picture of the Titanic. A nice painting picture of the Titanic. Oh, it is a functional watch. As you can see, it does work. If you do want to set the time to use it as a functional watch, you just pull the pin up, and then you turn it to get it to the right time. And then whenever you get to the right time, you put the pin down and it starts again. It's a good watch. I definitely do plan on using it as a functional watch a little bit because, nobody uses pocket watches anymore. It might be time to bring some of that old style back. So there you go. Titanic pocket watch. This month's free gift with your model. Also, before we continue on, I do got an announcement to make. Followers of this channel or people who just want to look back at my past videos, you may notice that I was doing a build for a different ship as well. I was doing the Enterprise D from Star Trek The Next Generation, courtesy of Eaglemoss. You may notice that I haven't posted any of those videos in quite a long time. If you're in the model community, you know what's going on. You knew what was going on with that, but if you're not, here's a short version. Eaglemoss filed bankruptcy. They put a stop on all the models they were working on. So any Partworks kits they were doing, that was it. You were stuck with what you had. I stopped putting videos up on my channel because I personally didn't want to give you guys videos of something that you weren't going to be able to do ever. I didn't know if it was ever going to come back, if we were ever going to get to finish it, whatever. So I just put, and I'm not a big enough channel to where I could afford to take those videos down, because that was like that was almost half of my videos that I have on my channel. So I decided to leave up what I had. I took all reference to where you could get the model off the description, and I figured that'd be it. Well, there's been some news on that front, and it's good news. Folks over at Fan Home, which is another Partworks company like Agora, have taken over a bunch of Eaglemoss's models. Agora took over one of them. I believe it was they're taking over the James Bond vehicles. They're going to start with the Aston Martin that what's it called, Eaglemoss had. And another company, IXO Collectibles, they're taking over several other ones. They're taking over things like the Willys tank and stuff like that. So the models have been going all over the place. Fan Home, though, they decided to take over the licensed models. So they're the ones they're going to let you finish the DeLorean from Back to the Future, the Ecto-1 from Ghostbusters. They're doing the Eleanor from Gone in 60 Seconds. And of course, they're going to continue the Enterprise D build from now on. So, I have 2 videos in the works for that I had put together and filmed, but I never posted because I didn't want to give you guys any hope that you were going to get these, because I didn't know if I was going to get anything else. So I got those 2 in the works, and starting in March, because they're saying that they're going to take pre-orders in February, and they're going to ship the next shipments in March. Starting then, we're going to continue to get our packs for that, and we're going to finish that model off completely. So if it starts in March, I was expecting issue 21 on that, and there's 31, so we're 10 issues away, so we should be able to finish the Enterprise build this year, if not early next year. So be on the watch out for those videos. Now, before we get back to Titanic, our Titanic Trivia from last episode. Apart from the Titanic, how many other liners were also built with 4 funnels? Was it 13, 23, 33, or were there 43 other liners? The answer, if you couldn't figure it out, there were 13 other liners besides the Titanic that had 4 funnels. So you might remember me saying at the beginning of this video, all that work we've done on the hull and everything is going to be forgotten about for the next few issues, because next we're working on our engine room. So for this first part, we don't need any of these or these screws. We need the claws and the ladders. They call them connecting shafts and valve rods, but whatever. You call them what works for you. And if you remember way back in the beginning of this build, this should seem like old hat to you. So, oh, wait, not these things. Wrong ones. We need the ones with the arms. We need these ones. And this should be, kind of old hat, because we did this already with our first engine. So now we're going to do this with our second. So we're going to take, on each one of these, we are going to take this curved part, connects to the middle one, and the flat part, the square one, connects to the outer one. So this part's not directional. It doesn't really matter what way you put it in, so just start with one side, clip it into place, and then we clip the other one on. If you need them, grab some tweezers to help you push that in. So like that. Once again, Square goes on one of the outer ends. And the curved one goes on the middle. So there we go, we're done with that, and I just realized I forgot to start our trivia, so the first question we have for Titanic Trivia for this issue: what job was held by Iago Smith on the Titanic? Was he the orchestra leader, the first mate, the mail clerk, or the purser? We'll find out at the end of our next stage. Now getting back to the build here, now we need these parts. And you'll want the smaller end. These have two different ends. One's smaller and one's bigger. It's the smaller end that we want connecting to the other side here facing up. So when you get it on there, they should all look like that. Once again, the smaller end on these should connect to the other side, and they should be facing upwards. I mean, they are free to move as they want, but the bigger part should be going up. Okay, so there we go. Now we got those done. We can actually put these to the side, and we can get out these, which we now have to put in the right order. So just like before, they do have their markings inside them. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but each one has a marking inside them. From left to right, you're counting down. So you want to go 8, 7, L8, L6, or L8, L7, L6, and L5. So this is the order you want them in. Now, as you can undoubtedly tell, we're going to take our column here, and just like before, they're going to fit in so they fit in like that. There's a little peg and a hole that you put that one in, and then we're going to secure them each down with a BM screw on each one, which means, of course, we're going to oil them. Like that. So now we're going to do the same thing on these other 4 parts. Now L7. For L7, the hole's there. It's kind of tough to see it, but it's right there. And now those are on there, and with those, believe it or not, that is all there is to do in this stage. So unlike before when we did this time they're making us spread the engines out between stages. So stage 28, as I'm sure you can imagine, we're going to be doing the other sides of the engines. First, we gotta put these parts together. So just like we did before, we're gonna take one of these ends here of the piston rods, We're going to take the corresponding one, and one good rule of thumb that they show in the book is if you want to think of these as a letter, the C's should be going the same way. So you should have a capital C on top and a lowercase c on the bottom. No glue needed, they just snap into place. So we do that for all four. Okay, now we can put those off to the side. Bring our engine pieces down. Now these two are numbered, but unlike on the, now these are numbered as well, but unlike on the left side where we went down going left to right, this time going left to right, we're going to count up. So we're going to do R5, R6, R7, and R8. And if you ever wonder, or if you ever want to know, if you look inside, if you look in there, it'll tell you which piston, which cap this is. So just match the cap to that. You'll be fine. And then of course, same thing as before, we're going to hold these together with our BM screws. And once again, with that done, again, that's the end of stage 28. So before we continue, to answer our Titanic trivia question, so what job was held by Iago Smith on the Titanic? Was he the orchestra leader, the first mate, the mail clerk, or was he the purser? Well, if you didn't look it up, the answer is he was the mail clerk. So he was C, the mail clerk. Because Titanic was the RMS, or Royal Mail Steamer, Titanic. So here we are, we're going to start stage 29, which is going to begin with the crankshaft for the second engine. Before we do though, in what lifeboat did the Duff Gordons, so that'd be Sir Cosmo and Lady Duff Gordon, what lifeboat did they get away on? Did they escape? Was it boat number 1, boat number 3, or boat number 7? And you'll get the answer, of course, at the end of our next stage. So we need the crankshaft, and they need this end here. You'll see it has 2 ends. This end with this peg sticking out here needs to face this way. And then we're going to take our pistons, our connecting rod assembly from last issue, and we're going to connect them. It's going to kind of grab from the bottom, so just like that. And we're going to connect them to that one, skip. Then this one on the bottom here. Skip that one. Then we go to this one here. And we're skipping one and going to the... Then we're skipping... Whoa, wait, nope. Stand corrected. So it goes... So when you're putting these on, it goes this one first, skip one, then this one, then we're skipping 2, then we're putting one on here, skip 1, and then the last one goes on this bottom one. So like that. So remember, it goes 1, skip, 2, skip, skip, 3, skip, 4. That's how you want this part to go on. Now we're going to want the columns we were working on in stage 28. So the right side ones, the ones from the right side. And this is going to be the fun part because we're going to feed the, just like before, we got to feed these in carefully here. So just like before, there's no real easy way to do this. This is a very finicky state, but you basically want to get this part of the piston in above this top groove part. Then once you get that on there, kind of like that, you're going to take your L side and we're going to sandwich it. So this is where it gets fun because you got to get these to stay where you need them so that you can sandwich them in there. There you go. I don't mind to tell you that was harder than I thought it would be. I basically took the crankshaft off, put these arms pistons in, and then put the crankshaft back on. I don't think that's the recommended way to do it, but it worked. So next we're going to start working on the top of this and putting some of our details in, which is basically the cylinder heads. And we got the cylinder heads and our cylinder heads and our distribution valves, they're called. And we fondly remember doing these. So now you just gotta find the right sized ones. You got 3 big ones and a small one. The small one's gonna go to that. So these 3 are gonna go on these ones, and then these parts are gonna go here and here. And actually, we're going to go one at a time. Oh, wait. Flip that around. Make sure you got this going the right way or it won't fit right. So it should be facing this way. This curved piece should be going that direction. And just like before, we definitely are going to want to put some glue onto these. So putting a bit of super glue around the pegs. And it is directional. They can only go in a certain way. So once you get them in line right, they should go in. Then we're just going to go all the way down the line. Again, they are directional. They only go on one way. So if it's not matching up, you're putting it in the wrong way. And just like before, on this last one, they trip you up by making this thing point the opposite direction like they did before. So there is that. But key thing is, those are on, and part of the purpose of these is to help pull to make sure that these things go together fully, because even if you screw them in right, they don't exactly pop in fully, and they don't want you gluing them, obviously, because they don't want any glue getting on the pistons. So that helps kind of hold this all together. So for right now, we're going to set that aside. Because we need this part here and these here. And all we're going to do is, with the tips facing up, and there's two ends, you want these facing up, these tips and these square pieces face up, and then each one of these is going to connect. So the first one's going to connect here, like that. And they connect to each one of these little dips here. So now we got that set just the way it's supposed to go. Now we're going to bring our assembly back over, and we're still keeping this end right here pointing this way. Now anywhere that there's an opening, now we're going to flip this over. So it's like this. This is highly important. You want the flat end of this to be flipped over. These still pointing up, but you want it flipped over to the flat end. Now anywhere where there's not already a piston, obviously you're going to connect these. So, like that. Now once we got that on, we want to flip this up. And just like before, we want to get this to fit into the holes here. Now it is pushed to fit. Just like that. Now we're going to hold this. Now we're going to get this held down into place. Now remember, these should be pointing horizontally outward. So now we got to put these pieces on, and you need to make sure that you have this one with the little loop going towards this end. Now again, just like before, the instructions printed are wrong. It's going to show this piece with the loop pointing out. You need to flip it and have it going in, just like before. So there's no real easy way to do this, but we're going to basically put pieces into place. I'm going to start on this back piece here. So you're actually going to start with these two ends here. Okay, so you're going to actually start with these two pegged ends. One's smaller than the other. You can tell one's got a bigger base than the other. It's the one with the smaller base that we want on this side. So we're going to get those in place. So we're gonna get this front one, and we're gonna get the back one in place first, fully, because that's our stopper piece. So you're gonna get the back in. This is where it gets really tricky to do because you got to get it all going into this groove at once. And then we got this piece, which goes on here. Like that. That then gets held in there by CM screws. So we got that end on, now we gotta put the other end on, and like I said, this part here, even though the instructions show it go this way, the right way for it to go is this way. Trust me, you need to make sure you do that right. So there we go. I don't mind telling you that was a little fiddly and I had to do it off camera, but there it is. Now we've got the gear. Now they tell you to glue it on. One side is flattened and matches the shape at the end. It says to use a little glue if you need to. Just match the shape up and fit it on there. I'm not gluing mine down yet just because I've had some problems with my other one, but at least now, if you want to, we should be able to get a little bit of a test going on this. So I'll hold it here, and if this turns right, just like before. So with that all done, and that all on there, that is all there is to do in this stage. So now here we go with the start of stage 30, and we are going to, of course, add our base to this engine. So the first piece we need is this one with the ladders. And we're gonna put this on just like before. So these go in, these upturned parts go into these pegs here on the bottom. It should fit in there just nicely. And then we're gonna hold it down on either side of these braces here with EM screws. So there's that, and of course the stairs go towards the crankshaft. Still turns nice and smooth. So now we need our other base, and this end here takes the flat end of this. Sorry, I had to go fix something. I'll make sure to put a note on the slide. So I told you, made a big deal about making sure this was flipped around. Don't listen to that. This needs to face the right way because the curve and the curve have to fit snugly together. So we're gonna put these into place here. Should fit nicely together. And now we're gonna put in 4 FM screws. So these spots here and these spots here are going to get FM screws. And the others, these 6 holes here are going to get held together with AP screws. So there we go. Now that that's done, let's just do a test to make sure that nothing's getting blocked. It's kind of turning a little tightly there. Now this next part, I'm actually gonna skip a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because technically next they want you to put these pieces up onto the tops here. As I'm sure you've probably seen with your own model, that is going to cause quite a lot of problems to, you know, preventing those from breaking off. So I'm going to keep these safely off to the side. That's also going to help differentiate the 2 engines, because otherwise they'll look exactly the same. So the last thing they want us to do is go ahead and they want us to put a covering on the back here. So it is pushed to fit, but you can put a little super glue on there if you want. And just snap that onto place. It's kind of hard to see because of my lighting, but I'll try to. There you go. So now that that's in place, if you do put the tops on, you'll have a way to differentiate your engines, because for right now anyway, this one doesn't have that on there. So with that done, I'll bring them both over here. We now have 2 completed engines, and that is it for this stage. Before we go on to the next stage, in what lifeboat did the Duff Gordons escape? Was it boat 1, boat number 3, or boat number 7? And the answer to that is they escaped in boat number 3. They were on boat 3 to get off the Titanic. So stage 31, we're going to start right where we ended at stage 30. Before we do go into this though, your next Titanic Trivia question. What breed of dog did John Jacob Astor own? What breed of dog did he have? Now, this next part is a lot of detail work for our first engine. So if you've been like me and you kept these things off of your engine, then you'll easily see which one it is. But if you didn't, if you put everything on, your key is going to be right on the back. The one we don't want has this piece on it, this circular piece we put on last. The one we do want doesn't, so we're going to put this one off to the side and start working on this engine. Now we need to get some gangways put in. That's going to be our first step. And we're starting in the back section here. And the gangways we're going to do a dry fit on them first. To make sure we get the right ones, because there are 2 different ones. And see, these ones are curving inwards, which you do not want them to do. If you got the right ones, they should be sticking out slightly at 90 degrees. So the right ones on these are going to stick out a little bit. So you got to kind of test them out, because unfortunately they did not mark these with the right ones. Okay, so I think we got those in where we want them. Now we are going to glue these into place. And we're just going to put some glue right on the pegs here and right along the edge here, right in between the two, basically. And we're going to put them into the place with our tweezers. And then once you got that set, once you got that gangway set, you're going to put the same thing in on all of these. So we're going to go do that, and I'll meet you back here. So there we go. Now with those in, as you can imagine, we are going to do the same thing on the other side. So go put those ones in, and I'll meet you back here for the next details. And there we go. Now we've got all those in place. Our gangways are in place. So now I'm gonna get our next parts ready to go. Now for our next detail, we want to be looking at this side of it. So for our next detail, we want to be taking a look at this side, and we're looking at the middle here. And we're going to be getting two pieces out of our one bag here. We need this part and this detail. And this piece is going to go in it's like we're going in this way. And this first piece is gonna fit into the holes, looks like here and here. So we're gonna dry fit it first. I'm gonna try to dry fit this in first, see how it fits. That fits in there. It actually fits in pretty good, but they want us to put a little glue on that, so. When you're putting your glue on, you know, make sure the more contact points you have, the stronger a hold you're going to get. So basically any place that it's going to touch, that's where you're going to want to put some glue. There, just like that. And then this piece is going to go into this hole here. So once again, we're going to dry fit it, and it is directional. It is a D-shaped hole, so it can only go in one way. That goes in there pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and get some glue on that. Just on the peg. We're going to go ahead and put that down in there. So we should look at something like that. Now for this next part, we need these two pieces here, the wheel and its support. Now you gotta put these together. It is gonna be, but you also gotta make sure you note which way this hole right here is going, because that's how you're gonna want to put this on. Because there is a D-shaped indentation here, so it can only go in one way, and you want the wheel facing outwards. So you want it like that. Make sure you get that right. Once again, they'd like us to glue it in, so might help to actually hold it with your tweezers. And then once you got that in place, put some glue right on that peg. Then we're going to put it into position. And again, it's going to go into this hole right here in front of whatever they're calling this one piece. Now the next one they want is to take this piece here, this pipe, and they want us to fit it in the holes on this side. Oh, sorry. They want us to fit it into these holes here on this side of the thing. It is a one-directional fit. You'll notice that there is a skipped spot for it. It will fit in there pretty good dry. Yeah, it's a good fit in there. You can put some glue in there if you wish. I'm definitely going to, though. So once again, just put some glue on the pegs. We're going to put this in there. And there we go, we got that pipe in. Now they want us to take this pipe, which is just kind of a single right angle pipe. And we're still working on this side, and it's gonna connect here. So it's gonna connect this hole here and go straight down there's a D hole right there. So I'm going to start off by putting glue on the section that goes into the D hole down at the bottom. I'm going to get that end in first. And then we'll put some glue just on this end and push it into place. Now next, we're still working on this side. The next piece they want us to use is this huge pipe, which should not be that tough to get on. Now the huge pipe, again, we're facing this direction. And it's going to go into the big holes here, and it's going to go into the holes here and here. So since it is such a big pipe, and these holes are ginormous, I'm actually going to put my glue into the holes. And I'm going all the way down to the bottom. Just make sure that the flat end of this pipe faces the same end as this cogwheel. Now with that firmly in place, we now need another long pipe. We'll need this piece of piping. And it's gonna go on just between this one and this one. So there's some, you can see the hole here, 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 and that's where these are gonna go. So again, you want to dry fit first because this is so tiny. Yep, now we're gonna put some glue on this. Now for this pipe, I would recommend you not only do glue on the pegs, but also on the piping itself so that you get some extra connection. Because one thing you gotta keep in mind is that this end here does stick out and it's not connected to anything. So all your connection is gonna be on this front part. So that's all you're gonna get to connect this pipe to your base. So once we got that pipe on, we're going to flip it over to the other side here. And they first want us to use this bit of double piping, and it's going to connect here. It's going to connect here over to here. So once again, there is only one way for this to go. We're going to dry fit it in first, so since it is directional, I am just going to put the glue right on the part. Once you got your glue on, I'm going to put the part in. And there we go. So that piping is in. It is a little bit of a tight squeeze. You do have to kind of manipulate the pipes a little bit to get them in there. But you'll feel it go in when you get it right. Now the next pipe we're going to take is this one here with the curved out hooked pieces. They're going to connect to that hole there, this hole here, and the other hole at the end. Because it looks like they want this to stick out, I am not going to put any glue on the pipe itself. We're just going to put one end in there. I'm going to get my tweezers and get this other fiddly end in there. So like that. And then our last pipe, which is this long guy here, it's going to connect into the holes here, here, and on the end. So just like before, it is going to be directional. It can only go in one certain way. So we're going to dry fit first to get it to fit the way we want. Okay, that's good. The dry fit works good. So now we're going to go ahead and put some glue on the pegs. And I'm actually going to put a bit of glue. I'm actually going to put some glue on this too. We got our glue on that. We're going to put our piece back. We're going to put our piping back in there. So there you go. And with that, that is all that we have to do in stage 31. So I made a big goof for this next stage. I forgot to hit the record button on OBS. For those of you who don't know, I use OBS Studio to record all my footage, but I forgot to hit record before recording this section. And because this is a very high detail, small part, super glue everything down section, it's not one I could just take everything apart with and reshoot to, you know, capture the footage for. But luckily, another YouTuber I've mentioned many times on the channel, Wayne, from World of Wayne, make sure you go check him out. He's doing the same build, and he gave me permission to use footage from his Stage 32 to show you guys and to show you how to do the build. So we're gonna watch his video. I added in the instructional sections, and of course the music is just what I put in. Wayne doesn't usually put music on his, so but again, go check out his channel. He's a great YouTuber. He's doing a bunch of these models, including the Titanic, and you know, he was my inspiration to even get back into Partworks models, as well as to do a channel like this. So Wayne, thank you so much for letting me use your footage. I really do appreciate it.
So apparently we're doing some sort of, the first element to be assembled and fitted is the auxiliary engine for the port replicating engine. So I'm just going to get all the parts out for that. So I've just opened every single pipe bag I've got here to try and figure out what I'm actually using. But the first thing I need is this little pipe like this here. That is going to be going into the front of this little detail here, kind of like that. So I'm going to put some glue into place so this stays where it needs to be. Up to now this build was quite easy going. I do think that this pack has upped its game a bit. So there we go, that's that pipe in there like that. I've got a tiny detail which I'm putting on this end here. So I'm going to some glue just on the end there and push this detail into place. Now this is shaped, so it can only go in one way. But when that's in, it should look like that. Bring over the engine, the port engine that we've been working on. And we do have two lugs on here which are going to go into the holes that we can see there. A little bit of glue to help me. There we go, that's in place. I've now got this walkway to put in, which is going to go along this edge here. I have zoomed up, or zoomed out the camera a bit. So again, I'm going to put some glue just into these slots at the side. Can't wait to take a thumbnail picture for this, because this engine's so detailed. And then push this in. Just holding that into position for a second, just to allow the glue to dry. That looks good. There we go. Now this larger pipe here is going to be going onto this side of the cylinder where the pipes are. So again, I'm just putting some glue just into here. It's going to go around this way, and the lugs do locate which way round this goes. Just like that. These pipes here, and I need this bent pipe which is going to go into this socket here. I'm not gluing this at the moment until I can figure out which way round it goes. I think it goes like that. So I think the best way to do is to put this part into position first. So we want the side with the walkway on, and it's just going to go onto the top of the cylinder here. So let's get that glued in first, because this part's going to be static. And then I'm going to put some glue into either side of the pipe here, so I can get this into place. So this end's going to go in here, and the other end is going into the end of that pipe, so it looks like that. Now another big detail here, which again I'm just going to load up some glue, is going just into the tiny socket just down the bottom. It has got, again, a shaped lug. So put this in. Push that down. So now that looks like that. Put that to one side because we're assembling another little tiny piece now. So I'm just grabbing the parts that I need for this. And for the first time in a while, we're actually going to be using some screws on this to get these ones in. So they do have a little keyhole pattern on the end. This one's going on this side. So it's going to go in like this. Screwed in with an EP screw. And tighten that up. Do the same on the other one, which again has got a keyhole pattern. And then I'm just going to grab some glue, and there's a couple of little holes here. Fill them up with a little bit of glue. Where I'm going to be pushing this little tiny detail here. I'll get this in. Excellent. So now that whole piece looks like that. Now I need this pipe and this tiny piece here. These are getting smaller. Put some glue just on the end of this, so that then I can put this pipe into this section. It has got a hole, so they're all facing the same way. So it looks like that. And then the base of this pipe is actually just going to go down into the section we've just been working on here, in here, like that. So again, I probably will just put a little bit of glue just to keep that into place. It is a D-shaped hole, so it can only go in one way. Slide that down gently because I've got another pipe to create. Now that one has got this bend in it. And again, I've got a detail to put on the end. Tiny detail looking just like this, which I'm just going to slot in. But now I know how that goes, it's probably best to actually slot this detail in to where it goes first onto this unit here. It's just going to go into there. So I will just drop a bit of glue in that first, then put the pipe in afterwards. Again, there's a little D-shaped pattern on here. So it will only let you put it in one way. Excellent. So now I can get this pipe, and again, a little bit of glue, just like that. Very, very fiddly. Now, in the hole that we've got left at the top, this detail is insane. I've got a little sort of, let me pick this up with my tweezers, a bit that looks like this, but again, it has got a D-shaped pattern on the end. God, my fingers just don't want to touch this now, but that looks like that. Okay, I need to bring over the engine floor now. Do you remember this? That looks just like that. I've got a piece to put in, which looks just like this. Again, it's got a keyhole pattern just in front of this section here, so this is going to slot in only one way, just like that. That's held in with an FP screw from the other side. So just get that in there. Perfect. Now on the interior side of this, I've got what we've just created, and that's going into that keyhole slot just there. I've been very gentle to get that in there. You've got to line up the pipes while you're doing this as well. So I've got my tweezers to help just bend them into position. There we go. And that is fitting absolutely perfect. Now this one needs to go in with an EP screw. Probably best to let the screw pull this down. You don't want to push on any of those details there, but that's in. Just going to straighten that wire up there. Excellent. So that's looking just like that. Now, tiny detail just to put on this hole here, which just goes into this hole here, like that. And then just in front of that, little D-shaped hole here, I've got this pipe, which is going in. That looks good. That looks like that. Another D-shaped hole just underneath that pipe here to put this detail. So again, I'm going to use my tweezers just to help line this up. Get this in the correct way. Excellent. Which means I've got one part left over. I'm just going to see where that part is. The part that I haven't put in yet is 32N. So I'm just going to have a quick look back and see where that goes. Ah, right, okay. 32N. The last piece I've got just goes in front of this detail here. You're probably all shouting at me. Again, a little D-shaped pattern, so it can only go in one way. But that's in perfectly, just like that. And that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. That was crazy to do. Absolutely crazy.
Yes, Wayne, you're quite right. That was a crazy stage, but I can't argue with the results. They speak for themselves. Look at all the detail on that first engine and compare it to the second engine, and you'll see we got a lot to do next issue. So before we go, though, you remember we asked, what breed of dog did John Jacob Astor own? And the answer is he owned an Airedale. John Jacob Astor's dog was an Airedale. And as funny as it is, that question was answered in issue 27 of this very pack. They have a whole section talking about John Jacob Astor's dog on the Titanic. Wow, so what a crazy stage that was. I mean, holy crap, so much detail on those engines. But we're going to have to do it all again. But yeah, hopefully next time it goes a lot smoother. There's, we've already put together one engine, so now we're going to be doing it all to the second one. And that's another issue for the next pack, though. Before we go, though, here's the last bit of Titanic trivia for this video. What did lifeboats number 6, 7, and 8 all have in common? Lifeboats 6, 7, and 8. All three of them had one thing in common. We'll find out what it is next time on the Model Frontier.